Hi Sue, it's really nice to see you again. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to orient us a bit. We've been working together for a while now, and we're starting to move towards some of our final sessions. So today I'd like to focus on three things: looking at what's changed over time, talking about anything that still feels challenging, and making sure you feel comfortable with the plan moving forward. How does that sound to you?
That sounds okay.
Great. Last time we focused on reaching out to your family by texting ahead and also looking into some social activities. Let's start with the family contact. When you think about recently, how often have you been reaching out?
I think I've been trying like 3 times a week.
Okay. And how many of those turn into actual conversations?
I think like maybe 1 or 2.
Okay, so you're reaching out a few times and it's leading to real conversations at least once or twice. What have you noticed about those conversations?
I think they feel easier, more natural.
Easier how?
Like less awkward, like they're expecting me to call.
Mm. So when you reach out ahead of time, it takes away some of that uncertainty.
Yeah, I think so.
And how do you usually feel after you talk with them?
I feel a little better. I feel less irritated because I don't know, it just builds up, and then when someone actually answers the phone, then I feel better.
So you're a little more settled and less frustrated after connecting.
Yeah, I think so, exactly.
I want to pause there for a moment. Earlier on, reaching out felt a lot harder and more uncomfortable for you. Now you're doing it more consistently and it's actually helping how you feel afterward. That shows a lot of effort and follow through on your part.
I guess so.
What about getting out of the house a bit more? What does that look like recently?
I really haven't gone anywhere, just like staying in my house by myself, or like my son's house, I mean.
Have you been looking at some of the options we talked about last time?
A little.
So you're still thinking about it, but not quite taking that step yet?
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
Okay, let's slow that down together. Walk me through what happens when you think about going out.
I just stay home. I mean, I don't really know.
That's okay, take your time. When that moment comes, what makes it hard to go?
I guess I just feel like I won't fit in, you know?
So there's a feeling of being out of place.
Yeah, I just feel like I won't belong.
That's understandable. New situations can be intimidating. Is there anything else that makes it difficult?
No, don't get me wrong. I love being around people. I hate being alone. It's just, I feel like new people is what makes me feel like unsettled. Like so many new people at once can be scary.
So part of it is worrying that you might feel overwhelmed around others.
Yeah, I think so.
And when you decide to stay home instead, what happens later on?
I feel like I get restless and it just makes me feel like a little mad.
So you become restless and that can turn to feeling agitated?
Yeah, exactly.
So what I'm hearing is staying home feels easier at first, but after a while, those feelings, restlessness and agitation, they build up.
Yeah, I mean, it's really annoying. Like, I like being around people, but like, I feel like if I get to see too many new people, I might get overwhelmed quickly, you know? And then I just wouldn't want to be around people anymore.
It sounds really frustrating. On one hand, you want that connection with people, and on the other, the thought of feeling overwhelmed makes it hard to get there. Given that, I'm also wondering how transportation has been affecting things for you lately.
It hasn't been great. Like, my son, he's like super busy with his job, I guess, and he doesn't have any time to take me places. And like, the maid, she doesn't really have like a license either, you know. So she just like has a ride to work, like, you know. And so there's no one to take me anywhere, even if I wanted.
So even when you might want to go somewhere, it's not always easy to get there.
Right.
Let me make sure I'm understanding. It sounds like going out can feel uncomfortable or overwhelming. Staying home too long leads to uneasiness and irritation, and getting to places isn't always easy. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. You summed it up.
Okay, let's think about what might feel manageable moving forward. Instead of trying to do something big at once, what would a small step look like?
I think maybe just going somewhere out of the house, even for like a little bit.
That sounds like a great place to start. How long would feel okay? Just a short visit.
I think like 15 minutes.
15 minutes sounds very reasonable. So the goal wouldn't be to stay a long time, just to go somewhere briefly and you can leave whenever you want.
Yeah, I think I like that.
What kind of place would feel most comfortable for you?
I think somewhere quiet with not a lot of new people.
So somewhere calm. Maybe like a coffee shop or a familiar place?
Yeah, a coffee shop would be nice actually. There's one next to the house. Maybe I could go there. I've been wanting to visit there.
How confident do you feel about trying that at least once this week?
Maybe a 9 out of 10.
That's a really strong starting point. What makes it feel like a 9?
I think it's just the fact that I don't have to stay too long. I choose how long.
Right, you're in control of how long you stay. And just like reaching out with family, you've already shown you can take small steps and really follow through.
Yeah.
Since we're also starting to think about what things will look like as we finish up our time together, I want to make sure you have the right kind of supports in place moving forward. Would it be okay if I share a couple options with you?
Yeah, that's okay.
There's a service in Canton called Cherokee Adult Mental Health Services by Highland Rivers Behavioral Health. They work specifically with adults and offer things like counseling, support for anxiety, mood changes, and help with managing frustration or feeling overwhelmed. So some of the things you've been describing, like feeling irritated, overwhelmed, or having a hard time managing those feelings, those are exactly the kinds of things they can help with. To get started, you would just call them and set up an intake appointment, and they would walk you through the rest. We could even start the process together if you'd like. How does that option sound to you?
I think that one sounds okay. I think that one, yeah.
Great. And if getting there ever feels like too much, there's also a virtual option called the Mind Spa, and they work with adults all across Georgia. They offer online appointments, things like mental health evaluations, ongoing support, and even medication management if needed. So you don't have to travel at all. You could do it from home, either on the phone or on the computer. We can set that up by calling them or booking directly on their website. Does having a virtual option feel like it would make things a little easier?
Yeah, I think I like that, not having to find transportation. I like that one.
Great. And another support I want to mention is something a little different, but it could really help with those times when you're at home and start to feel unsettled or alone. It's called Daily Peace of Mind Communications. What they do is provide daily check-ins, so someone can call you, text you, or even email you just to stay connected and make sure you're doing okay. It's really about having consistent contact during the day so you're not going long periods feeling alone. You would sign up through a simple online application and they set up a schedule that works for you. How does that sound?
I actually really like that one. That one sounds nice.
Awesome. And for transportation, since that's been a big barrier for you, there's a local option called the Canton Fix Route Service through Cherokee County. They provide rides within the area. You can call ahead and schedule transportation to things like appointments, stores, or even just to get out of the house for a little bit. So instead of relying on finding a ride each time, you'd have something more consistent set up. Would having that kind of transportation support make it easier to follow through with getting out or attending appointments?
Yeah, I think so. That make it a lot easier to get here more consistently.
So we have a few options here, and you don't have to do all of them. It's really about what feels the most helpful to you. Out of everything we talked about, what feels like the best place to start?
I feel like I really like the transportation and the peace of mind one. I feel like the transportation would take like a load off my son, so he doesn't have to take me anywhere, and I feel like it'd be easier so I can also be a little more independent.
Awesome. I can help you with getting started. Would you be open to doing so this week?
I think so, definitely, yeah.
Great. Now, before we finish today, let's go over what we talked about. Today, we looked at how things have been changing over time. You've been reaching out to your family more, and that's been helping you feel a bit more settled afterward. We also talked about what's still difficult, like going out feeling uncomfortable and staying home sometimes leading to stress. And we came up with a plan that feels manageable. Just short outings, around 15 minutes, somewhere comfortable. What stands out to me is that you've been putting in effort and trying things, even when it hasn't felt easy. When you think about where you were when we first started working together, what feels different to you now?
I think now I'm putting in more effort into, you know, the options that you've been giving me. I've been trying to reach out to my family more. You know, I have been keeping in contact with them. I've actually had conversations with them thanks to, coming here. So, yeah, I feel like I've changed where I've been putting more effort into making the change.
You definitely are, and that's a really meaningful change. And as we start moving toward finishing our time together, I want to make sure you feel supported even when we're not meeting regularly anymore. You've already been taking important steps like reaching out to your family and looking at new ways to get out of the house, and now you have some supports in place to help you keep that going. You won't be doing this alone. Next time, we'll check in on how things went and make sure everything feels in place as we start wrapping things up.